welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl, Honey Please. And I am back with another mother freaking video. And today, as you've read by the title, I'm going to be talking about something that's very, very close to my heart. Not a lot of people know. This is a highly, highly requested video. Is to talk about Marcus and what went on and what I went through. And because of the nature of the video, and because most people do have good intentions, but there are still some people who are just freaking evil in this world, I'm going to turn the comments off. If you guys have anything to say to me, you can direct message me on Facebook. My name is Honey Please. You can direct message me on Instagram. I'm Honey Please, and Please is spelled P-L-Z with 3 underscores afterwards. Or you can add me on Snapchat and I'll, direct message me on there, and that's Barbie Baby with 2 I's and 2 E's underscore baby. So on that note, I'm just gonna leave that there, but I will not be having the comments on this video because people always say what they would have done, what I should have done, and I just don't have time for that. Like, it's going on 3 years now, and I have ran through every single scenario in my head. I don't want to talk about that anymore. There were very hard times in my life that I have gotten through pretty much alone. Well, with my family, but alone. So let's talk about who Marcus is to me. This is going to be an emotional video for me because I don't usually talk about this or talk about how I've gotten through these things. But I feel like people need to know, because you need to know that you will always come out on the other side. Your one that got away is somebody that you've seen potential in, and you feel like if you were still around each other, the circumstances would be different. And Marcus is my one that got away. I met Marcus the year after I got out of like a really toxic relationship. Like, going through his phone, like he was cheating on me, he was really hurting me, but I still stayed with him. And then, like, I think I was like 17 years old, and I finally just left it alone. Finally just left him and like focused on myself for a little while. I got my own place, I got 2 new cars, I was doing very good, and Marcus was just random. Like, honestly, this was not even supposed to happen random. Like, liking each other's things on Facebook. And then one night I was just like, come over, like, let's hang out. We played the Wii together. We hung out that night. And then, like, the next weekend I was out with my girlfriends, and I was a little drunk. And when you're drunk, you want your man. If you feel me, you feel me. So I kind of already knew, like, I was digging Marcus. He kind of knew he was digging me. Like, we had been talking. We hung out a few times. But now I was starting to see this, like, relationship turn, And I was with it. Like, shit. Okay, let's do this thing. So I called him up when I was out with my girls. I'm like, I'm about to come get you. You're coming out with us, too. You're going to drive us all around because you're sober. We were walking inside. My drunk self, I don't even know how this happened, but we kissed, and he was like, is this like some drunk shit, or are you gonna remember this tomorrow? And I was like, I don't know, kiss me again. So then, long story short, as you all know, this turned into a relationship, and Marcus had his own place and I had my own place, but most of the time Marcus was over at my place, and we really, like, I say Marcus was the one that got away from me because I have never had a relationship more healthy. Like, we never went through each other's phones. Like, we would argue, but like about petty shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember one time I was pissed off at him for something, and I went to his house, and he was like, in the middle of an argument, y'all, I'm yelling at this boy. In the middle of an argument, he's like, give me a kiss. And I was like, I love you. But our relationship was very healthy. Like, I can't remember any huge problems. Like, we didn't go through each other's phones. Like, we trusted each other. You know, we were always cool with us hanging out with each other's friends. You know, his friends became my friends. We hung out as a group a lot. And yeah, I was just really, really in love with Marcus. And so one night we got into our first like serious argument, and we broke up for like 3 days. So our first argument was on Wednesday, and Thursday and Friday and Saturday we were angry with each other. But Saturday night, Marcus called me to come see him and talk to him. And every girl knows, like, even when you're mad at him and he's done some fucked up shit, you're still gonna go back. Like, that's your man, you know what I'm saying? So on Saturday I did go see him, and when I went to go see him, Marcus committed suicide in front of me. There are so many regrets and things that are left unsaid. And I just need everybody to hear this, so that if you're thinking that that's your way out, it's not. Because now it's almost been 3 years, and clearly, you know, the people who loved him are not even close to being over it. I was with Marcus for 7 months. The thing that people don't understand about suicide or depression is that people who are really feeling things usually don't say how they're feeling. Marcus really fought his battles alone. Like, he didn't want anybody to worry about him. He wasn't the type of person who would sit down, except for with his mom. He was really close with his mom. But for his friends, he was really not this type of person to sit down and say, I really need somebody right now. Marcus's suicide was so unexpected because he just was not portrayed as this type of person who was going through things. Marcus was caring. Marcus was funny. He was literally the life of the party. It's hard as a girlfriend to accept the fact that I slept next to Marcus every day, and I had no idea what he was going through. It's hard to accept as a girlfriend that you didn't love it enough to stay. You know, you really felt like you had nobody at that point. Like, nobody would understand you, you know. And like, I want the people watching this, if you feel suicidal in any way, get help for yourself and for the people who love you. Because when, you know, somebody gets into a car accident with a drunk driver, we blame that person, you know, the person who's drinking and driving. Or when somebody kills one of your loved ones, you know, you blame that person. You have somebody to blame, somebody to hate. But when it's suicide, it's totally different. You bounce from, how could you do this to me? You know, how could you leave me here? You know, and just like anger that you would even hurt yourself. Why didn't you talk to nobody? To, you know what I mean? Guilt because you feel like you could have done more. You know, especially being there. I have a lot of regrets from that day. I hold a lot of guilt as somebody that was with him every day. And it's hard to talk about. But the thing is, suicide and depression, you know, it's real, you know. Every single person on this earth has thought about suicide when you're going through something. Every single person has felt like, if I was gone, it probably wouldn't matter. Every single person has felt like, I can't do this no more. Every single person has felt that way. So we would all be lying if we said we didn't have moments where we felt like giving up. No matter what your storm is, no matter what it is you feel like you can't get through, there's always, always, always a light at the end of the tunnel. And it may be real far. And you may be in the dark for a long time. But it's always going to come to light. It always is. You know, your family, your friends, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, you're out here making permanent decisions that they have to live with for the rest of their life. It leaves a rippling effect for your family and your friends. And that's the most important thing to remember about suicide, is that you don't get rid of the pain. Whatever pain you're suffering through, you just give it to somebody else. I went through phases where I pushed all of my friends away. Like, I didn't want to be around anyone. I went through phases where I was hurting people that I loved and that loved me, because, you know, I was talking crazy. I was saying that, you know, I was planning my own funeral. And my mom was like, what the hell? Like, you need to help yourself. You know? I had good days where I was proud of myself for how far I had come. And I had bad days. I went through intense counseling twice since Marcus. Some days I still feel like I'm not completely healed. Everything happens for a reason, you know? Everything you go through in life happens because you are supposed to do something with it, or, you know, the lessons that you learn you're supposed to take to other places. And I feel like my lessons that I learned from Marcus and my story that I have to share about Marcus is supposed to be shared, so that people who feel like they can't go on any longer see this video, you know what I'm saying, and think, man, I don't want to do that to my family. That's what I hope this video gets out to be. You know what I mean? Just a lesson. Like, I'm only 21, and when Marcus passed, I was only 18 years old. I was about to turn 19, you know? And it's not normal for an 18-year-old girl to see and experience that type of traumatic loss. And it was all new for me. I never lost nobody before Marcus, you know? Marcus was not only my first loss, but that wasn't, I never seen nobody commit suicide. I never, you know, I never been through something like this. So this was all just navigating. These past 3 years have just been navigating through my feelings. You know, just trying to figure out what the purpose of all of this was, you know. And like, I felt like before I seen the bigger picture of all of this, there were times where I felt like I was so dark in the tunnel and I was so alone. But the point is, if I can go through this and I can come out alive, so can everybody else, you know. I try not to compare grief or compare situations, because what was life-changing for me may not be life-changing for you, you know what I'm saying? And what's life-changing for you may not be life-changing for me, you know? Some people might get into a really bad car accident and that's what molds them into who they need to be, you know? Mine just happened to be Marcus's suicide. Depression is real, y'all. You gotta check on your friends, even every day, even when on social media they look fine, you know? Even when, you know, they're smiling and happy around you. It's nothing to just say, hey, you good today? Like, you really good? You know? Do you need anything? You know what I mean? It's nothing to ask a question, you know? We got to stop making each other feel like it's forced to check on each other, or forced to love each other, or forced to be there for each other, because that's when people start to feel alone. But I just wanted to come on here and share a little bit of my story about Marcus and show you what it's like to survive that, and show you who I am today, you know, and show you that people who go through dark storms, you gotta be tougher. You gotta remind yourself, you're literally built for everything that God puts in your way. You're literally built for it. You're strong. You're beautiful. Remind yourself to put yourself first. Whatever makes you happy, feed into those things. Whatever makes you feel good, feed into those things. There were days in there where I did say, I'm feeling like I can't do this no more. I'm feeling like I need to give up. If you like to work out, if working out makes you feel good, do that, you know? Whatever it is that makes you get back to yourself, do that. If you're feeling like you can't go on anymore, if you're feeling depressed and you feel like nobody's there for you, figure out the things that make you feel good and indulge in those things. And don't care what anybody else says. It's always good to have a person that you can talk to when you feel like you're drowning. I don't want any of my friends to feel alone. Even people who aren't my friends. I get sad when I hear that somebody else committed suicide. Like, do you know, first of all, how brave you have to be to know the outcome of what you're going to do, and you don't care? You still do it? Like, that is some deep shit. Like, to know you're not going to make it through this and you don't stop. I don't want anybody to feel that way. I see every day, you know, how it affects his family, his siblings, you know, his mom. Like, I see what Marcus's suicide has done to his peers, you know. It's been 3 years, and even though there are some people who have fallen off and haven't come around, there are some people who still every day, you know, it never changes for them. There's literally not a day that I go by that I don't think of Marcus, or, you know, that I don't see something that reminds me of Marcus. He may not be the first thing that you think about when you wake up, but you always think about him. be a positive person and put out positivity and love. And just remember those things and feed yourself these things. You know, and if you feel like you can't feed yourself these things anymore, my social medias are right at the beginning. I'll feed them to you every day. My lips been ashy this whole time and nobody told me. But some people this is really going to resonate with. And that's the point of this whole video, is that hopefully somebody who's feeling suicidal will either A, reach out to me or a counselor or somebody that they love, or B, they'll see this video and just think, you know what, I'm tripping. Life is too good, you know. Life is already too short. And it's sad because I really didn't want to do this video for the longest time because I didn't know how people were going to look at me, you know. I don't like when people feel sorry for me. I don't need anybody to feel sorry for me. I need people to understand what the point of this video was, what the message is. Never even heard of a person committing suicide before Marcus committed suicide. Like, obviously it was happening, but I never paid attention to those things, you know. And imagine how I felt. Like, I remember being 18 years old, like, my friends, like, I'm not related to my friends anymore because no 18-year-old has ever been through anything this traumatic. And I remember thinking, like, my mom can't save me in this because my mom is, you know, 40-something years old and never seen something like this, you know. And I just remember thinking, like, people in the military can't feel me because you sign up for what you see in the military, you know. I didn't sign up for this, you know. I remember feeling like nobody gets me right now. Nobody's gonna ever understand what I went through. I remember feeling so alone, y'all. I really did. I remember being not okay for months and living in this fog, like just day in and day out. I didn't know who the hell I was. I was so lost at that point. I remember pushing everybody away and talking about my own suicide. Suicide is so fucked up. It really is. I never will be able to go back there. But maybe I can change one of your guys' circumstances. I hope this touched one person. That's the goal. And for anybody who's struggling with depression, please message me. Please, please, please message me. Please, let's talk about it. Don't make a permanent decision off a temporary feeling. And just remember that even when you're in the dark, it always, always, always comes to the light. You cannot stay in the dark forever, baby. You can't. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any more comments or questions, please message me. And I hope you guys have a good day.